So this is the first lesson of Unit 10, and we're just going to be looking at the unit circle and kind of seeing what we can know about it even before we start to learn any trig. So circular trigonometry is at its essence the study of patterns. So in this unit, we're going to be studying a lot of patterns that have to do with the circle and triangles. We will be exploring some of those patterns in the unit circle, which is really the unifying concept in the study of this area of mathematics. So first off, the unit circle is the parent function for all circles. It is the most basic circle, which can be dilated and translated to become any other circle on the coordinate plane. So if you want to pause the video now and see if you can answer questions 1 through 4, so right along here, that would be a good idea. Okay, so now that you've tried them on your own, what is the center of the unit circle? You can see that that's just 0, 0. What is the radius? So since this point out here is 1, we can tell that the radius of the unit circle is 1. What is the equation of the unit circle? So this is going to require us to remember that circle equations are in the form x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. H and k that you see here are the center of the circle. So since both of these are 0, our equation is just going to become x squared plus y squared. Since our radius is 1, 1 squared is 1. So I know my exponents don't look great, but that's x squared plus y squared equals 1. There are 3 other easy points on the unit circle. Up here we have 0, 1. And down here we have negative 1, 0. And down here we have 0, negative 1. So that's just using basically the fact that the radius is 1 going in different directions. Moving down the page, we're going to start to discover some things about specific points on the unit circle. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to label the point at 1, 0A. Sorry about that. Label the point at 1, 0A. And then we're going to go around the circle in the clockwise direction and label each of these remaining points. So I'm just going in alphabetical order. So now we can refer to the points when we answer questions. So the next thing we're going to do is label all 4 quadrants on the graph. So if you remember from geometry, we start out in, sorry about that, phone call. First quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. So now we're going to answer some questions about these. If we are in quadrant 1, what are the signs of the x and y coordinates? So if I'm up here, any point in that quadrant has a positive x value and a positive y value. Now we're going to talk about the 3 points that are in that quadrant. So when I talk about those 3 points, I'm talking about these. We don't include A and E basically because those points are on the quadrant line, so they're not technically in quadrant 1. So of the 3 points, which has the largest x value? If I look at my points, the one that goes the furthest over is B, so that's how I'm going to answer that one. Which has the largest y value, so there I'm talking about which one goes up the most, right, in the y direction, so that's D. And then kind of an obvious point about circles is that if point D has the largest y value to fit on a circle, it's also going to have the smallest x value. So D has the smallest x value. Since B, right, has a large x value, that's the one with the smallest y value. So this is B down here. And then we'll learn more about why this is definitely true, but that point, the next one says which one has an x value and a y value that are about the same. If I look at my picture, point C looks like it goes over and up about the same, so that's the one where they're about the same. Okay, so at any point that you watch these videos, just pause them, look over the work, and then you can move on to the next page. Remember, you can leave questions in the discussion that we have as well. So moving over to page 2. And then we're going to be doing the same thing in each of the other quadrants. So first off, let me erase whatever's on here. So now we're going to look at quadrant 2. And we're going to think about points in quadrant 2, which is over here. So any points are back and up, so they are negative, positive in this area. Now we're going to answer the same questions, and we're going to do this one together, and then you're going to do quadrant 3 and 4. So of the 3 points in quadrant 2, which has the largest absolute value for x. So we're basically looking at the one that's moved back the farthest. So looking here, and I am just going to pause the video and label the points. You can go A through P as well. So now that I have the values labeled, it's just the same as the other page. So back to our question, which one has the largest absolute value for x? So the one that moves back the most is this point H here. Which one has the largest absolute value for y? It also has the largest value because the y values are positive. So if I look here, the one that goes up the most is F. Same idea, since F has a large y value, it has a small x value, so it answers this question. So this is the same as the first quadrant. Sorry, that's kind of messy. And of the 3 points in quadrant 2, which has the smallest absolute value for y, okay, so the smallest y value, the one that goes up the least, we can see is H. The one that's kind of balanced in the middle is G. So at this point, you want to pause the video. You're going to do answers for quadrants 3 and 4, and then you can come back and check. So here are some of your answers. First off, when we're in quadrant 3, which I did in red, the signs are negative, negative. Point J is the furthest back for x, so largest absolute value of x. It's also the least down, so smallest absolute value for y. L has the opposite properties, and K is the one in the third quadrant that's kind of in the middle. Same understanding or same logic for quadrant 4. Okay, forward and down, positive, negative, and then here's your answers. So we'll be moving on to the next page. Remember, if you have questions, you can post them in the discussion.